Hello and welcome to the first ever KMS rundown. It is December 1st, 2020. It was Quantum Kirk today. With me, I have Tim from Canton. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, buddy. Hey,
Thanks.
just point of clarification. Is this the rundown or is this the wrap up?
Did I say wrap up or rundown?
You said rundown. Isn't that someone
I
else?
meant wrap
show?
up. Up, down. I don't know my directions.
Someone's already
north is west, west is east. You know me with my directions. Rundown, wrap up. Who knows?
Hey, I'm just zipping up because ever since I shaved my beard, I realized how fat I am. So I'm zipping up here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming on and joining me.
I'm not supposed to have someone else, right?
Yeah, Madawaska Rob was supposed to join us, but he is AFK at the moment. So hopefully everything's all cool with him, and he has the link. So if he wants to jump on, he's more than welcome to. It was mentioned on the show earlier today. Before we get into what happened on the show, I just want to talk a little bit about what the wrap-up is going to be. It's going to be a once daily thing, about 25 to 30 minutes. I plan on having a different guest on every day. Hopefully we get a solidified guest. So I have someone on Monday, someone has Tuesdays, someone has Wednesdays. Work around people's schedule. If you feel like you'd make a good co-host or guest on this show, please reach out to me. I've already had a couple people reach out. I know Kirk mentioned on the show today that that's kind of what he envisioned, and that's what I envisioned too. But I just mentioned that I had you because when I think of, number one Minifan, I think of Tim and Canton.
I don't know about that. There are some definitely number one obsessed with writing things down. That's me. But number one fan, you did what you texted me was exactly what you pretty much what you just said. But I think what you said on the show was a little different, and I don't know that it got across.
No, it didn't.
As well. When they called
you. It was very. It's tough. I mean,
like Kirk said, he calls you all the time. You're still nervous.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm just a nervous guy. So I mean, hopefully I get done with that. But yeah. So like I said, so hopefully I don't know. Maybe we'll have Tim on Tuesdays, Madawaska Rob on Wednesdays. Like another guest Thursdays, Fridays, and so on and so forth. But let's get started. So today, we had the Quantum Week boys were in, and I don't know about you. I like having. I think Carano's fine by himself when it's just him and Kirk, but I think the dynamic when Chris was in there was great. I loved this show more than any other Carano show that has taken place so far. I don't know about you.
Does that include Udemy?
Udemy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Same here. I'm the wrong guy to ask. I love whatever Kirk content Kirk
so do
puts out. Total sick fan. I don't give a shit what people call me. I love it. I consume it. I'm happy with it. It's like eating chocolate for me every day. It just makes me happy to hear it. So that aside, I love hearing Chris and Matt in there. I think Matt man, as a fill-in producer, he just hits the ground running. The way he and Kirk play off of each other, he definitely, Matt has his own opinions, but he also has reasons to back up his opinions, which it's just an opinion, you don't need one. But I think he holds his ground pretty well, and he's funny, and I know people get upset that he blocks them, but I think that's part of what makes it funny is he doesn't care.
Yeah. I 100%. I kind of like the having the backup producer who blocks people who doesn't like it. I don't know.
He's
I
trolling.
Like it's kind of like, oh, so you control the show, you control Matt, but Matt can't troll back. I don't know. It's kind of it's not like you're not able to listen to the show. I think
exactly. Yeah.
People are bitching. That means they like it.
And having Chris in was just for me. I loved it. I love when Kirk brings in. When he brings people in and he gets a lot out of them, I like both those guys a lot. But just hearing Kirk talk to them about things differently than they might talk about on their own show is what I really enjoy. He really drags it out. But you can tell Chris is a big sports fan. Mm-hmm. He's very knowledgeable. I know you and I talked about something we're going to get to. And Chris is a very, very funny guy. I've talked to Chris one-on-one. He's a super funny guy. It's good to hear about what the two of them are up to with a lot of time on their hands. Matt has no problem saying he'd like a job, and Chris has no problem saying that, right now he's going to just take his time and figure out what he wants to do. But I loved having them in there. I know some fans were chirping saying, oh, great, now we're asking fans to come in. I don't know. If you ask me, if Kirk's gonna have you on, Kirk's gonna bring something out that will be funny.
And this isn't like, so Kirk has had fans on, quote unquote, like fans on EEI, and didn't he have like Kevin from Bristol on it?
Sure did.
At some points, and Steve from Providence and everything like that. So this isn't anything new. And this might be a hot take right here, but I think that Quantum Week Chris had the best first show in studio in KMS history. I will put it up there against any other first appearance from anyone in studio. I think he did an excellent job. I actually think I wouldn't mind seeing like I don't necessarily if it could go Carabas, Mike, and then Quantum Week Chris and Matt rotation, but I could definitely see like maybe once a month kind of bringing in Quantum Week Chris and Matt to kind of, get the pop culture juices flowing, because man, those guys know like everything about movies. They're talking about movies from 1960 all the way up to the newest Drake song. So I mean, they're all over the place, and I do think Kirk enjoys getting into pop culture every now and then, and he also, like we were talking beforehand, Quantum Week Chris is a big sporto, loves his baseball, and that kind of came out today. He kind of brought Sporty R. McKenzie back out with some of his baseball takes today.
In 2 seconds, or not even 2 seconds, Kirk was able to turn on Sporty, and it was right back to the old EEI days. Even the comment, right? It just shows you how not scripted, but the model is the same. Like he always talks about these consultants, and they always want things their way. It's not really consulting. It's why don't you do it my way? And the way he just slipped right into it, and he even said, "Call us, hang on, we'll get to you." I mean, the guy's a pro. And then as far as Chris and Matt with their pop culture takes, their knowledge, I mean, it is fifth layer deep. It is, that's the part I like about this show, is they really get into the nuances about like a movie. Like, I don't care about the cinematography, but hearing them maybe talk about how they came to, I don't know, whatever they did in a certain movie, it's very, very interesting to me. And you can tell Kirk loves that movie.
They get into the box office too, like later on the show,
11 billion versus 2. It's interesting.
No, it really is, and And
who knew which movie was number one?
Kirk and Chris did. I mean, I would have guessed Sonic the Hedgehog. So that's the last movie I saw in theaters. So
I don't even know what movies came out or are out, but and then the ability for Kirk to slip in and then come right back out of that Sporty R. McKenzie was just
it's incredible.
It's legendary. I mean, if you're a fan of broadcasting and you hear that, if you're a consultant, you're either shitting your pants or you're listening to this guy every day saying, this is the model I need to adopt, and this is the model I need to push on to people.
Oh, we have a special guest, Mario.
There he is.
Hello.
Holy shit.
How's it going?
Sorry, I was so late. Fucking kids, man. Get these kids out of my face. They interrupt life. They just interrupt too much of life.
Disgrazia.
Yeah.
Hey, late but great. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Living the dream. So thanks for joining us. We're just kind of wrapping up the first topic of, Quantum Week Chris was in today. Matt's in this week. I think they both did a great job. I don't know if you heard my take, but I think that Quantum Week Chris had the best ever first appearance on the Kirk Minahan show in the 1 of the year half history, is it now? Or around then? I think it puts up there, and I'm even talking about like Steve's first show, Mike's first show, when Cullinane first came in. I think having Chris in with Matt really gave the ability of Chris didn't seem nervous. I know he was doing some maybe some exercises at the start there.
In the chair.
But
well,
I think it was all the outfit. It was all the outfit. It was like I went upstairs. I had like I think I wore that to my 8th grade pictures. Like I have a picture in 8th grade. He's got the undershirt with the sweater. He was looking slick.
Yeah.
He was looking nice. He was looking
un-penis head like. It was very
dressed for success.
If I saw him at the 10th grade semi-formal, I would be afraid he would steal my girl.
He could probably still. He could honestly probably still sneak in there too. I think.
Well, all right. So, some numbers to break down, right?
Yeah.
Chris is, as he said, 6'1" and 135.
I think that might be a little high.
String bean. You think he's even thinner than that?
I don't know. I mean, I only know one person's weight, and let me just say I'm a little bit more than 135. I've been hitting around like the 70 mark recently.
You have?
But
is that 170 kilometers or whatever they call it? Kilograms.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what it is in kilograms. But no, it's more than let's just say it's a couple quantum week Chris's. So.
He looks like we said he looked like William Dafoe. That's who he reminds us of. Like
someone tweeted that out. Yeah,
and then I say he looks like William Dafoe on AIDS with AIDS. That's what he looks like. But I don't know.
If he was in Dallas Buyers Club or something.
I said he looks like Matthew McConaughey, William Dafoe.
So, Justin, are you gonna, now that you said this, are you at some point gonna record yourself naming all the first time guests on the Kirk Minahan show and then ranking them like
ranking
you did
them in order?
Not tonight. Not tonight.
Yeah, sure.
We know he'll be number one.
Let's go with that. We'll put that on my idea list. So that's a great transition into the next topic, which is so about 7 minutes into the show, Kirk called me up. I knew this call was coming. Steve, because I've been trying to contact Steve for a little bit, but he's been dealing with some things. And I was going to call him yesterday, and he texted me, "Hey, so Kirk wants to do this on the show. So you're going to be getting a phone call around 9, anywhere from 9 to 10." And
so you knew he was going to call.
Correct. That's why I had everything written down and all that stuff.
You definitely are a nervous Nelly.
Oh yes, very nervous, especially in the morning. The morning, but it's
why is the morning different from the night?
I don't know. Just my brain's strange, but which we'll get to in a second. It's not that strange. But
can't get my head around that one.
But how'd you guys like any of the ideas? I mean, I've had some feedback on Twitter. I've heard some people really like some ideas. I've heard some people hate some ideas. Some people think the subscription idea was the stupidest thing they've ever heard. Other people kind of like the idea of a monthly subscription thing. Kirk said it's probably not going to happen, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But what are your guys' thoughts on really any of the ideas that I proposed today?
I'll let Rob go. I've been yapping away. Go ahead, Rob.
I mean, I love the idea of this show, the wrap-up show.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to do because I don't know how much producing or what it would take, but I like the idea of a wrap-up show with clips, with like, I mean, I hate to like bring up my show. Actually, I love to bring up my show, but some Insane News, like not that crazy editing, but a little bit of that.
Yeah, kind of just like hitting a button and a movie would play or something, just kind of like something like that, or even like in the top left hand corner, something like that. Other like just getting away from getting away from the Zoom meetings, getting away from this. I mean, it's got to be on StreamYard, but getting away from this format, I think is got to be something that you look into. Like, I don't know which show it's going to be or which one, but I think the more that we get away from this format, even though I love this format because I love you guys, but is because you have Justin and the Minifans for that, you know what I mean? And they have the KMS Brews like that, and then the Blue Show. They're all very similar. So if you could get a couple shows that just get away from that and do something like that, if it was a wrap up show with that type of stuff, I think you're onto something. Yeah, I have access to all the clips and the show footage.
Right.
So yeah, no, I can definitely make that work.
Yeah.
Starting tomorrow, I'll throw in a couple clips here and there. I do have the Mike Portnoy interview going up today on the KMS Clips account.
Wasn't that great? I think you should be. I think you should be like.
I think you should be
once a month person.
He's funny.
Doesn't Howie Kai have a monthly, or he used to have monthly legal advice? I mean, that's perfect idea for Mike. Having his legal take, his legal mind. The only jurist who doesn't want to go in front of the Supreme Court.
Only guy. I mean,
right? The first one to say, Jesus, I hope not.
You said that. I know.
I'm with Rob. As far as your ideas, I think John from Scranton and I think Red, they both do rundowns that are pretty damn good.
Yep.
And John does a great job of grabbing clips. And the other rundown, they just do a quick hit. It's a really, really well paced. And I'm with Rob. Like if you think about the Stern wrap-up show, it was easy for them. They would literally go in a studio right after the Stern show was done, but they have those clips right there already pulled. They have a whole team to pull all that stuff. But they did a great job of painting a picture of what was going on behind the scenes or diving into something. So I'm with Rob. I think any show that can have some clips or where this is on YouTube, if they have some maybe short video, but for me and Rob, we don't work for the show. You do. So, you have access to all that stuff.
Of
so
course,
I think that'd be awesome.
No, I mean, like I said, earlier, this is kind of like not necessarily a test week, but I'd like to have things more finalized and kind of have like a steady format, steady schedule going forward starting on Monday. These next couple of days, I'm just going to be testing out a couple things. Like tomorrow, I'll probably be testing out the clip format and see how that works, see how the reception to that is.
I think once you get into a groove, Justin, you'll you'll be able to do that much easier. But I also want to I got to give you credit. You were tasked with coming up with something, and you came up with some ideas. There's nothing worse than complacency, right? So good, bad, or indifferent, at least you had some ideas. It was funny when you asked Matt Carano the other day if he.
I mean,
Matt,
that was
I get
bad.
it.
That was tough.
But anybody that at least has a suggestion, it's like I was just say going out to lunch. Everybody would bitch and say, "I don't want to go here, there, or there." Well, you have to have an alternative, and at least you offered something for people to say, "No, but maybe you can work on something else." So I think just putting more out there and seeing what works, something's going to take.
Right. I mean, yeah, like I said, I had a tough November. It was, I was kind of sailing high at the start of November, getting hired, and then everything went downhill when I posted text from Steve, and it just seemed to just roll downhill from there. So,
brother, that's life.
There, buddy. I know.
Exactly.
No, I mean,
it's never going to end,
and
you just got to start to learn to roll with it.
I think it was a tough month, and I'll get through it. I'm not going to quit. I'm also not going to kill myself. I know.
Very good to hear. Very good to hear.
like today on the show, Kirk says he doesn't
that.
want to hire me, and he doesn't want to fire me because he's afraid I will kill myself. That is not going.
That's a true story. Like I was on the phone with Latino Kirk, and I said, Latino Kirk, I want you to get this message to Steve that if I find Justin's dead, lifeless body on the tracks, I will take care of it. I will do that. I have no problem. But I want a spot on the fucking show.
Justin, I don't think you should have told anybody that, because that's called leverage, a word that Mutt doesn't know the meaning of.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Let people think you're going to do that. It's leverage, buddy.
I don't like to use mental health as kind of like as leverage or anything like that. But no,
you're in the business world now, baby. Nothing matters.
It's been great. But I will say, here is not an ultimatum, but I'm not giving ultimatums. It is if by January 1st, Kirk's opinion has not changed of me on the show, I'll be gone. I will walk away. I will no longer.
So big
like.
Month. So big
I'm not
month.
saying.
Justin,
like
that's a big commit you just
made. It's a big commitment. No, because I trust myself. I mean, everyone's been saying I've had a very bad work ethic this past month, and probably that's partly true. I think a lot of it has to do with lack of communication on my part, not reaching out to Steve, not reaching out to higher ups. And I know I'm a good worker. I know I'm.
So Justin, can a couple of burnt out corporate world guys give you some advice?
Of course.
So when your boss or somebody calls and says, "What are you doing?" You don't have to be honest.
Lie.
Thank you.
lie.
I was knee deep in this project. That's
as I'm sinking a birdie putt. Oh, I'm working my balls off here. Jesus,
can't get these numbers to add up. And working on it for an hour. My resources aren't there for me. I'm in the middle of cleaning my basement.
Well,
I was always left a voicemail guy. I left a few voicemails, few emails, here and there.
I'm a big voicemail guy too. I've never changed my voicemail since I was 12.
No, we know.
But you got to paint a better picture.
But I will say, I mean, I'll definitely going to start working on many more things now that kind of Kirk said, here's the reins to the YouTube, here's the reins, just do something, just get things done. I'm confident in myself where if come January 1st, if Kirk says, Justin, I mean, my opinion hasn't changed. You still suck. You're not doing anything positive for the show. I'll be gone.
And Carano will just take over the YouTube channel.
His plan.
He's angling whatever he can get in there.
I will say real quick about yesterday's show. Carano, the biggest libertarian I know, is suddenly throwing out drug users and drug dealers.
I know. I love Carano. I love
behind the scenes. He's they should decriminalize this. And
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I love
Carano.
And
he's a funny guy.
You can't throw out the drug dealer thing. You can't just say just all willy-nilly, hey, fucking dealing drugs. I'm like, whoa. We all love drugs in some manner or form. I don't know, whatever drug you're taking, whatever it is, but you can't deal. That's a little different. But
in Massachusetts, you can now deliver pot. So
Yeah.
Maybe we'll move the show up to Oregon and we'll
hold on. I think I just heard the doorbell. I gotta go. See you later.
But so the next topic, it was a quick thing, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Is the whole Lego kid thing. When there's this 12-year-old who kind of makes Barstool Legos. I'm not entirely sure how he does it. I'm a huge Lego guy myself. I'm a Lego Star Wars kind of person, but I don't know how to make my own Kirk or Blind Mike minifigures or stuff like that. So I think that was pretty cool. It was just a quick thing. I mean, and I think it interested Kirk because I mean, here's this 12-year-old kid kind of leading back to what he said about me when he said there's such a disconnect with the current generation, quote unquote, my generation, with work ethic. And here's this 12-year-old kid who somehow ended up on he ended up on Erica's podcast. He's getting retweeted by Dave Portnoy, who has 2 million followers and all this stuff. So I think it was just kind of like impressive to see a 12-year-old kid go and be able to make an impact that young. And I think that's kind of what impressed Kirk about it. I'm not sure if you guys have any. There's not really much to talk about in the Lego world.
It makes me want to vomit, honestly, to tell you the truth, because I fucking hate these kids that get rich and they get fucking famous off the most bullshit fucking thing. Oh, I can make a Legos. Like, who gives a fuck? Wish I just who knew? I should have just sat in my basement since I was 7 years old and fucking Legoed it up, and I'd be a fucking millionaire. It's like the YouTube videos of these kids with their stupid playing the toys.
Yeah, like what's the staying power? Right? What's the staying power of that? Like, good for him. He's 12. He's doing it. And I know where Kirk will always say he likes things that are a little bit of a niche. And that is a niche. But where do you go from there? Now you did. All right. Now, actually, he's going to go pretty far from there. He's going to be making God only knows what. At some point, maybe a Brandy Love Lego.
Right. Just spread open Brandy.
Right.
We're gonna be fucking Lego sex dolls in fucking 10 years. This kid's gonna be creating them.
The only thing is you have to use the really old Legos. They can't stick together anymore. So sorry,
they smell and shit. I like the smelly Legos.
Good for the kid, but I'm with Rob. I'm bitter. I'm not. I'm not. Exactly. I'm nothing but bitter and jealous. Why didn't I do something like that? So good for him.
Yeah, my thing is good for him. I mean, I think the most successful YouTuber of 2019, I think, was just a child who just opened up toys.
Yes,
I think they made like $35 million.
Mega bucks. So just opening up toys.
In this world with economy in COVID, if you can find something that can pay your bills, and if it's stupid, who gives a shit?
By the way, I once interviewed and got a first. I once applied and got a first interview for a position that was the city of Boston. It was Lego. It was the Lego company and the city. They were looking to have someone represent them and get into schools and essentially push their products as educational. It sounded like a great job. Basically, you're playing with freaking Legos all day.
Yeah.
And you're trying to push them on kids in school. I didn't get the job, but man, I thought what an easy
my buddy Tim, my buddy from Chelmsford, his kid plays the fucking YouTube shit and makes $82,000 a year. $82,000 a year.
That's crazy.
He doesn't work anymore. He just fucking videotapes his kid.
That's crazy.
I hate him. I want to fucking strangle him.
That's crazy. So moving on to the next thing. There's a little. Kirk kind of touched. I don't want to say he got deep here, but he kind of touched on his relationship with Jerry. And we all know that's been rocky this past couple of years, ever since he left EEI. Jerry wouldn't leave and all that other stuff. They've had ups, they've had downs. But it looks like Kirk reached out, kind of saying, hey, this is kind of how it's going to be. We're going to have our ups. We're going to have our downs. Just know, I'm there for you and all that other stuff. And I thought that was nice to see. I'm not a Jerry fan at all. I've never listened to an hour of the Jerry Callahan podcast that did not feature Kirk Minahan. I never listened to Kirk and Callahan on EEI, so I don't see what the big hubbub is about Jerry. But it's I think it's good to see to have Kirk, reaching out to Jerry and kind of, because like you said before, it was kind of Jerry and Kirk versus Murchison. It's kind of brothers in arms. You always have that bond where you look at what they both went through, and they both have very similar experiences in regards to being canceled and stuff like that. So I think that was good to hear. That was a good little tidbit on, kind of, because I know people are interested in the relationship between Kirk and Jerry, and they're always the people who are like, oh, the Kirk Minahan show is nowhere as good as Kirk and Callahan, or bring Jerry in or something like that. But I think it's good to see them have a good relationship.
Oh yeah, I mean, I grew up on. I mean, those are the guys. I mean, I grew up on Jerry, so I've listened to Jerry. I was getting dropped off in high school, middle school, listening to him in the car. I mean, I listen to his podcast every day. Those are the only two podcasts I listen to every day are Jerry and Kirk. I mean, and I feel like I hate watch Jerry sometimes, especially when fucking Rima's on there. And I love Rima, but I fucking hate Rima at the same time. You know, I'm
with you.
And because sometimes you're just so stupid, but I like them, and it's good they could get there, because I'd like at some point down the line I'd like to see them do something together. I mean, because there's the chemistry is obvious. I mean, there's so much chemistry there.
Yeah, but I just don't know if that's best. I just don't know. I mean, Kirk has said multiple times he even said today on the show that he just doesn't want to touch politics anymore. So is he going to do a sports show with Jerry? Because I don't think Jerry's gonna come on and start talking about the YouTube and stuff like that. I think
he's not. I mean, he said a million times he's not doing a show with Jerry. It's not happening. It's not doing a show with Mutt. But I think it's great if Kirk feels that was good for his own well-being to reach out to Jerry. I love it. And I'm with you guys. I mean, I definitely piqued my interest to hear that, but more so that Kirk was comfortable doing that, and he sounded positive about it. So if it works for him, awesome. And if it means that it gives us a little bit of content, even better.
Right. Exactly.
But as far as a Jerry Kirk podcast, right.
And the last topic I kind of want to cover today is the phone calls today, or the lack of phone calls. What do you think did you guys have any guesses onto what that was? Do you think that was a Carano mishap? Do you think it was the tweet saying, if you have any phone calls for, Quantum Week Chris, come at him? And people might be like, I don't have anything to say to Quantum Week Chris in regards to the Kirk Minahan show, so they just decided not to call. What do you guys think? I know, Tim, you're a frequent caller.
No.
You're the best. legendary.
So, I would say as a obsessive caller, I don't believe for a second that people didn't call because Chris was on. If anything, people were chomping at the bit. I know for a fact, because I'm there is a cabal of callers who keep in touch with each other. People, we're always looking to call the show just to hear our voice on the show. It's a fact. There's plenty of people like that. So my number one guess would be the service that they use blows. That thing sucks. It's over the internet. Anything that goes over the internet and it's not to get too technical, but if it's not configured the right way, it never works well. This stuff never pans out. There's a reason that half of it's for free. I know they pay for it. So I just think it's the service they use is not very good. I don't know how many services are out there, because that is very specialized, but I know the connection's really bad because you're fighting with internet traffic, and also it's unilateral. You only hear it one way, so that's really difficult. It's not like a typical phone call. So I blame it on the service, not on anybody.
So you're not into the conspiracy theory that Carano's back there looking up numbers, making sure, blocking people left and right? No.
He's such a puppet master. You can't put anything by him. I mean, he's on a different level.
This is Matt Carano. What's your social security number and your job title? And I'll put you right on. No, I don't think any of that was happening. But it's.
What do you think, Rob? What do you think happened?
Probably the same. I mean, I can't imagine it was anything, because I'm guaranteeing people would chomping at the bit to get on there and just to talk to Chris. I mean, why not? If you get someone in there, like tomorrow when you're in there, I'm gonna be I've never called. I'm gonna fucking call until I get on there.
Picture a door. Picture a door.
Yeah, picture a door.
And everyone's trying to get in the door at once.
Right.
So actually, I don't think it's gonna be tomorrow. I believe it's gonna be Thursday.
Nice.
Just because some scheduling conflict, so I think it's Thursday.
For what?
And for Steve and I, to beat Steve from Providence and I going in.
That's the last thing I wanted to touch on.
Steve's got to go buy. Steve's got to go buy a car. He's got a hot lead on a Mustang, and it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough sale. I don't know.
A tri-year Mustang.
Yeah, he's dealing with the top used car salesman in the state of Massachusetts.
Or Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode Island. Either way. Well, he's New England. Top of New England. I mean,
there you go.
He's legendary. So I mean, it's going to be tough. Hopefully Steve can get it done. We'll see.
Awesome.
I can attest to the fact that Steve from Providence drives a nice car, and it's spick and span clean. If anybody remembers the old cleaner, it's immaculate. And yes, Steve from Providence has been to my house.
Wow.
Yeah, nice. And we'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. So I think that was a good way to kind of wrap up the show from today. And something I don't know if we're going to do it as an everyday thing, maybe once a week with Tim, but I kind of like the idea of looking back on, this day in KMS history, where we get to look back on what was the state of the show in 2019 or soon to be 2020 when it comes back. And this was actually a very so there wasn't a show on December 1st, 2019, but the first show just on December 2nd was very, would you call it important, Tim?
I would call it contentious.
It was, it is
December 2nd?
December 2nd, 2019.
Yep.
If I'm correct, this is the first show after the Mike and the Great Thinkers that took place.
Correct.
In
the Mike and the Minifans sympathy show, you mean?
Yes, in the Great Thinkers matchup, which took place at like a golf course or a virtual
that was
golf course.
Yep. So a couple of ironies here. So we'll do this in a little Quantum Week way. So Justin, I know you and I had texted a little bit, but I think maybe if I did once a week and then we could kind of do a week and just a quick, like it would be like a tweet, just quick topics of what they were. And then if we want to get into it, I think that'd be great. Cause I think daily for both of us just
I agree. It would be because like we said, like there wasn't a show on December 1st. So
right.
December 2nd, and then tomorrow would be December 3rd. But it's
let's face it, nobody wants to hear my voice every single day. I know that for a fact.
I do.
But you might. Thank you, buddy.
I do.
You know what? That is true. That is true. You've always been very nice about that. And by the way, Kirk did a great impression of my nasally, high-pitched Boston accent a couple of weeks ago. It was perfect.
How offended were you when he said your phone line sucked?
That's the only part that offended me. I didn't care about being called a fuckhead. I didn't care about any of the other comments. I didn't care about him making fun of my accent. People been doing that my whole life. But to say my phone line or my phone connection sucked, it's on that end, not my end.
It's your phone line, Minahan.
Actually, my coverage is terrible. It's terrible. So it's funny you mentioned this, Justin, about on this day or about this day in Kirk Minahan show history. It was on the Wednesday show prior to Thanksgiving last year, which was November 27th. And then the next show was on Monday the 2nd. And on the Wednesday the 27th show, you talk about you trying to come up with content. That was a big riff between Steve and Mike that Steve had talked to Adam Minahan and Kirk when they went out to dinner in Sudbury, lunch. And they had mentioned that Steve felt Mike didn't bring enough content to the show. So funny that you're talking about the same thing for the YouTube channel. So that happened on Wednesday the 27th. We had Steve's $80 haircut. If anybody remembers, a terrible haircut. Tons of
it was more than $80, right? Because doesn't he like pay a membership fee?
He did in the end. It was $80 was the tip. With Steve, again, you never get the full answer. Just like I know Kirk has a lot of questions about how he caught COVID from staying in a hotel room with his sister. So there's a lot to come from that. It was the Cullinan Golf, Great Thinkers Golf, which people like Patrick and Breadline Callahan fought traffic to get to Woburn, which, as Rob would know, unless you're 10 minutes away at that time of day, the day before Thanksgiving, bad idea. It could take you 3 hours to go 20 miles. It was also the day of Burgers and Brew.
That's right.
Came to light.
Wow, RIP, which is now no longer
huge.
I know.
No longer a restaurant.
Gone. With the Chick-fil-A right across the street. The French fry, the 5 fries issue. This was overlooked. Blind Mike revealed that he had gone on a date with AJ that prior week.
That's right. Remember that? Speaking of people who like to piggyback on the show.
Oh, you think?
What happened to her? She just disappeared. That was it. Gone.
I think she just realized it wasn't for her. Like she didn't want to get into the universe. I think the definition of, someone who, kind of jumps on and wants to do their own causes, but not really get into the show was kind of,
That's the only question is, going to lunch, is that considered a date or not? Mm-hmm.
That's a date.
That's a date. I'm with you. A lot of tennis match talk. So this was leading up to the tennis match.
Mm-hmm.
KMS this is where Kirk came up with the idea of having a show from a fan's house, which happened in January that year.
Yes,
the next
Cape
year.
Cod.
That started that show on the 27th episode. Shout out to Quantum Week. This was episode 114. Kirk also revealed what he says to his barber whenever he goes. He's talked about that many times now, but this was the first time he revealed that he talks about how, it'll always grow back. And then it ended with a big Blind Mike, Big Steve rift that they were personally friends, but professionally, they were not getting along. And this was also titled Kirk Minahan's Not Ready to Replace Blind Mike Yet. And then on the 2nd, so it would be tomorrow, there wasn't as much. There was a lot of Irishman talk. They all watched that movie and they gave their grades. There was an intruder into the studio. And then again, Kirk, this one was labeled Kirk Attempts to Settle the Family Business. There was a lot of talk about, again, the rift between Blind Mike and Steve and the fact that Mike had a Mike in the Minifans, and he revealed that he was upset about what had transpired. He blamed Steve for some stuff. Steve blamed him for some stuff. So a lot of back and forth, but 2 great episodes back to back, episode 114 and episode 115.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much for the on this day in Kirk.
I'll make it much quicker next time. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, it was perfect. I mean, like the 40-minute mark was kind of, where I wanted to cut things off. But so we still got a little bit of time. We ended a little bit early today. But so thank you everyone for joining the first ever.
Hold on.
Yeah, congratulations.
Can you hear this?
Jesus. Oh, that's done you. Wow.
That voice right there that laugh right there that I've been listening to is gonna haunt me all day long. Penis head gave me
a computer, maybe use my phone and send to Circus City twice. Yeah, congratulations. Jesus. Oh, that's done you. Wow.
All day. It's been in my head. As soon as I heard it the first time, I'm like, oh. It's
love Chris and Matt. How about that they're best buddies too?
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
that's good. Yeah,
you can tell. I mean, honestly, like you
enjoy each other's company. Yeah,
and he wasn't nervous, and I think part of the reason was because Carano was in there too, so it was like nice back and forth, and again, they've told this story now 3 times on air about trying to look for you, Justin, and I still get no fucking credit.
Still no answer.
I was a little.
That's right. You were there, Rob.
I was tipsy. I was a little tipsy at the VFW.
And you
taking them.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You weren't.
But I was with Sheldon, and the 2 of us are getting Irish car bombs thrown in our faces if we want them. And I'm like, you know what? Forget about it. I'm done for the night. I'm gonna go see if I can find Justin.
You had a nice night planned out and everything. You had the next day off from work.
I had the hotel room to myself. I was going to have some self-indulgence. It's been a while. I got no kids, and I was out looking for Justin. And I'm just so left out of the story conveniently because fucking whatever. And Steve's text. Hold on, before we did this,
if you're gonna we don't show Steve texting.
It's not a text.
Okay, just letting you know.
It's a message.
What's between you and Steve is between you and Steve.
It's a message on the thing, and I'm writing, Steve. I'm still in Northampton. I've checked the train station, the hospital, the McDonald's, the KFC, the Burger Kings, and nothing.
I already hit all those.
Let me know if I can do anything. Right? That was at 10:11, and then 10:27. All Steve says, appreciate you reaching out. He'll be okay. Thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah, I was fine.
After he said that, I go, oh, fuck it. I'm going home. If he doesn't give a fuck, why should I give a fuck?
And I did see, I can verify. I saw Rob walking down the street with Sheldon, and they were going to go out and celebrate a little bit. And he did turn around. And it also, Steve from Providence and I, we don't get any credit. We were in our car looking
all the way.
Now, granted, we drove straight from Florence to Rhode Island. We did not see you the whole way on the highway, but we were looking as we were driving.
That's right.
I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate everyone who went on the Amber Alert for Justin, but it's
more like a ginger alert.
It was with love, buddy. That's why it was with love. I was concerned.
Well, thank you. Well, once again, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I'm going to try to formulate some way. I think this is going to be a live thing on YouTube at 5:00 every day. And I'm going to talk with Steve, or I'm going to try to see if I can put it up on its own separate RSS feed. Maybe that drops at midnight every night. So in case you didn't get a chance to listen to it or to watch it, you could listen to it before the show drops tomorrow or something. So, I'll be trying that out.
Get Tim Riggles on here.
the last thing I wanted to say.
He's always a good guest.
I can't believe we forgot to real quick. There's a new challenge. There's a new 48 state challenge. SmithsCountryCheese.com, promo code Kirk. We got to hit all 48 states in the continent of the U.S. I know if you go on the Twitter handle Kirk's Maps, they are currently keeping track of every single state that needs to have cheese purchased to them.
So if I send one,
yeah, just send it to fucking.
I'm doing it. I have so many business contacts over the years that I have. I'm just gonna fucking send them cheese.
Just send them to like Chaz in Seattle or something for those, the Antifa little group they had, where they just needed food and stuff. I don't know, just send them everywhere.
Fill the nails.
So that should be a fun little challenge. I think there's no reason that should take any longer than Friday to get all 48 states. It's not like something where it's a pass fail thing, kind of like the phone calls. It will probably get done. So anything else you boys want to say before we wrap up?
I just would sometime like to dive in how you're nervous more in the morning than late in the day, but that's for another time.
I don't know. I mean,
that's when you have the cookout, we can talk more.
Yeah, when we have the cookout in 2023, and it's and they'll be like, "Yeah, remember when I worked for the show?" And the deck, we'll be cooking,
and the deck that you've built is going to be fucking in tatters. There's going to be
that's not true.
There's going to be pieces of wood hanging in the fucking wind.
Look at that! Oh, Rob, you touched the nerd. You know how proud Justin is of that. It's still pinned on his Twitter.
I love it.
Came out nice.
There's two things you don't talk about my deck. Don't talk about my yard. That's fine. But
I don't know. That yard looked kind of suspect. The last picture you had.
Oh yeah, we were in a drought. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm not breaking any laws. So thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thanks.